Hello. I'm happy to see so many of you here in the audience. I'm Anne-Marie Maman. I'm the Executive Director of the Princeton Entrepreneurship Council. The Entrepreneurship Council supports faculty, students, alumni, and the local ecosystem to develop, launch, and scale startups in all sectors. If you have questions or if you want to join us in growing this ecosystem, please reach out. In this session, we're going to have 4 panelists who support startups in the state. We have lots of resources here in New Jersey, but I get the feeling sometimes that some of the founders in the state don't know about the different programs and possibilities. So we're going to hear from the New Jersey Business Action Center about how to start and grow a company in New Jersey. We'll hear from the Commission of Science, Innovation, and Technology, which is a relatively new, really recently relaunched commission, about the funding programs that they've launched. They have some great new funding programs. We'll hear from the New Jersey Economic Development Authority about the different funding programs that they have, that they've been growing and have been giving money out to the state, to state startups. And we'll hear from the Executive Director of Rutgers Center for Entrepreneurship and Urban Economic Development about the programs that he's been developing to support urban entrepreneurs with a special focus on supporting underrepresented founders. So the plan for our time together today is that each of these panelists will talk briefly about the programs that they offer. We'll then go into a panel discussion, and then we'll save some time for audience Q&A. So please put your questions into the Q&A section on the conference portal, and you're also welcome to contribute to the session chat. To start us off, I'd like to ask Don Newman from the New Jersey BAC to come and tell us about his programs.
Thank you very much, Anne-Marie, and thank you to Princeton University and their Center for inviting me to talk to you today. So I want to talk to you a little bit about who I am and what we do. So I am the director, titles change a little bit. I'm the manager of the Small Business Advocacy Unit within the Business Action Center. And the Business Action Center is designed to assist businesses find the resources that they need or the information that they need. We are centered around a few different units. We have a business advocacy unit, and I'm going to only touch on a few of these, but the business advocacy unit works on projects. So they would help you build a building or renovate a building or navigate a complicated regulatory issue that you may be facing. As I mentioned, I'm the small business advocate, and I'll talk to you a little bit more about what we do in a second. We have a planning advocacy team which works with communities to help their business, their municipal plans and their regional plans to help make sure that their economic development also coincides with our need for protecting our environment and other issues that may be involved with planning. And then we have a global business advocacy unit. They're involved with helping businesses become exporters, and small businesses can be an exporter. So it's extremely important for people that have a product to understand that the largest percentage of consumers in the world do not live in the United States. And therefore, there may be some opportunities for you to become an exporter. And we can assist you with that, including we have a financial assistance program called the NJEDA program that we are administering right now, that we can help you go to a trade show to increase your exports. But like I say, I'm a small business advocate, and we deal with businesses of various sides and various life cycles. But the topic today is startups. What do we do for startups? So we can help you navigate the process of getting started in a business. We can help you find resources. We can help you navigate the regulatory process. We have connections with almost every state agency. We work closely with the Economic Development Authority. We can work closely with the other state agencies listed here. We work closely with the community development financial institutions, which we may circle back during our discussion so I can give you a better understanding of what they do. But they're lenders. They're a non-traditional lender that may be able to help a startup business or an early stage business access capital. You can contact us by using Jersey 1-800-Jersey-7. But you can also go to business.nj.gov, which is a state business website. We have a live chat feature on that site. In the last 2 years, we've spoken to 86,000 people through that live chat, and we can answer your business questions right in that chat platform. So I'm looking forward to our discussion as the panel moves on. So at this point, I am going to introduce Lanier Richardson from the Center for Urban Entrepreneurship and Economic Development. And I look forward to having our conversation beyond this. Thank you very much.
Lanier, can you take yourself off mute? Thank you.
Thank you. I was talking. Thank you for that. Thank you for saying that. So very quickly, I lead the Center for Urban Entrepreneurship and Economic Development at Rutgers Business School. We make space, equipment, and resources available to entrepreneurs across the state and increasingly across the region. Our work, most business schools have entrepreneurship programs that are focused on students. Our work is helping specifically underrepresented founders access capital to get to the first $1 million of annual recurring revenue. Our business education and training programs, capacity building, business plan writing, proposal writing. Social capital is really connecting entrepreneurs to contracting opportunities, increasingly with our anchor institutions. And then finally, adding mentors and advisory board members to help entrepreneurs have a better chance of accessing capital. Since our founding in 2008, we've helped over 400 entrepreneurs. Every year, we like to work with small cohorts of entrepreneurs who we believe have high potential. Over that time, as you see from this slide, 79% of the entrepreneurs are still in business, and we're really excited about that, creating jobs. A big focus of our work is helping entrepreneurs get past the first $1 million of annual recurring revenue. And I'm very excited that we can report over 160, increasingly over 200 entrepreneurs, some at over $10 million, some at 1.01 million, and the rest still climbing that ladder. Our core program is the Entrepreneurship Pioneers initiative. It started in 2008 with a focus on first generation Black, Latinx, and immigrant entrepreneurs. As you see from the slide, over 300 individuals in areas throughout New Jersey have completed the program. It's been the core of other programs that we've created. Our $20 million connection, for example, helps find opportunities for entrepreneurs who are doing at least $5 million of revenue to get to $20 million and connecting them to corporate contracting opportunities. The Ascend program is a program funded by Chase Bank that's helped us get entrepreneurs there. I want to spend the last minute of my presentation talking about our technology initiatives. Coming out of research done by Dr. Jeffrey Robinson, the center of this slide, we have created an initiative that really focuses on helping Black and Latinx founders access capital, whether that's SBIR grants. We formed an angel investment group and have funded now 3 entrepreneurs and connected them with other capital. We're always raising new capital from potential angels and from corporate America to increase the chance that high growth, high tech oriented, tech adjacent entrepreneurs really have access to capital. And so what I really joined this panel to be able to say to entrepreneurs who typically have told us people don't understand our business, don't understand our story, we need a warm embrace. We need cultural sensitivity, but ultimately we need capacity, but we need the first capital, people to make the first investment in our programs. That's what we're here for. That's what we've been doing for 12 years. And that's what we're adding to the ecosystem in the state, specifically with our Center for Urban Entrepreneurship and Economic Development. Thank you. I'm going to turn it over next to Mahako.
Thank you, and good afternoon, everyone. At the New Jersey Commission on Science, Innovation, and Technology, our mission is to strengthen and grow small businesses through university commercialization. And we also focus on early stage entrepreneurs developing innovation-based businesses and companies. We support businesses within 9 core focus industries as shown on the slide here. We offer several grant programs, so I'm just going to take today and really go over 4 of them that we have available. The SBIR STTR Direct Financial Assistance Program supports companies that have received the federal SBIR STTR Phase 1 grant or companies that are applying for the Phase 2 grant. For the Phase 1 Fast Track or Direct to Phase 2 federal award winners, they can apply for an additional $25,000 in direct funding from us. The grant helps to increase the intensity of research, strengthen commercialization plans. It can cover operational expenses, and it also allows companies to become more competitive as they are applying for that Phase 2 federal SBIR funding. For the Phase 2 federal SBIR applicants that are applying, they can apply for a $50,000 bridge grant, which maintains their operations during that gap period between the application process and the award notice from the federal SBIR. We look to relaunch around 4 of this program in the 3rd quarter of next year. The next 2 grant programs that we offer are within our clean energy sector. The Clean Tech Seed Grant provides up to $75,000 to businesses that are working to reduce or mitigate greenhouse gases or criteria pollutants. We support businesses in a variety of target industries, as you see here. And we have a few eligibility requirements. Many of them are on this slide and on our website. One in particular is that a company have at least a minimum of 1 full-time equivalent employee working at least 35 hours or more. We look to launch around 2 of this Clean Tech Seed Grant program in the 1st quarter of next year. Our next clean energy program is the Clean Tech Research and Development Voucher Program. Now, this program is really connects our entrepreneurs to university facilities, research labs, and maker spaces. And so what the commission does is we provide upwards to $15,000 to the companies as a cost share for utilization of these lab spaces. Typically, these programs last for roughly about 3 months. Companies are allowed to divide that $50,000 among various facilities if the machinery is needed across multiple facilities. And at the end of about a 12-month period, a 3 to 12 month, they can extend the grant for up to a 12-month period, but most of the projects last for about 3 months. This particular program is extremely vital as we are working with very early stage small companies that need access to expertise, lab spaces, and machinery to run pretty vital testing. And they rarely think about the universities as a potential partner. Now, this grant is currently accepting applications. Our final grant that I'll talk about today is the Catalyst Seed R&D Grant Program. Now, this is a fairly new program that we are launching next month. And this Catalyst program provides $150,000 to businesses that are working in the areas of life science, specifically therapeutic drug development. They also provide $75,000 to companies in the areas of advanced manufacturing, transportation, film/digital media, food and beverage, non-retail, professional and financial services and technology. So you can either apply for the $150,000 or the $75,000. Similar to the Clean Tech Seed Grant, the eligibility requirements also require a minimum of one full-time employee working 35 hours a week, and at least 50% or more of the workers, of the employees or contractors conducting the work in New Jersey, and a few other eligibility requirements. Now, this program will be launching next month. We encourage you all to participate in a webinar on December 7th at 10 a.m. The link is live and you're able to register on the NJEDA or CSIT website. And we absolutely encourage all to join us. If you have any questions, feel free to email me directly at metta@njeda or CSIT, CSIT@njeda. And I just thank you all for giving me the opportunity to speak on some of the programs that the Commission is offering. And at this time, I would like to introduce Rick Smith from the NJEDA.
Thanks, Mahako. Thanks, Anne-Marie and Princeton University for having me, give me the opportunity to discuss my team's role here in New Jersey's innovation economy. So as previously mentioned, my name is Clark Smith, Director of Innovation Programs here for the New Jersey Economic Development Authority, also known and easier said as the NJEDA. So we're an authority for the state of New Jersey. We're considered a quasi-government agency or organization. Historically, and some of you might know us more for performing functions that were similar to a commercial bank for the state of New Jersey. But in the last few years, we've been transforming ourselves into a holistic economic development firm. And you'd see our activities have really expanded, not just in the EDA, but for my team as a whole, our activities fall into three basic verticals. So financing activities, incentives, which is a fancy word for tax credits, and then a bulk of our activity is around ecosystem building. So in programs itself, we have two direct investment funds that can match when equity investors come into startups here in New Jersey. One is the NJ Fund, which is targeted at seed level investments, and then we have a couple different versions of the Edison Innovation Fund, which is like a venture debt fund for companies that are a little bit further along in their growth curve. Around tax credit programs, a big one is the Angel Investor Tax Credit Program, or we'll refer to it as the ATC program a lot. With this, it's a benefit to investors. They can get starting at 20 and upwards of 25% of a refundable tax credit for making a early investment in a New Jersey technology-based company. Another really popular one, especially in the biotech community, is what's referred to as the NOL program. And in this program, companies that have been unprofitable for at least the last 2 years have a minimum amount of New Jersey employees and also protected intellectual property. They can look to securitize and sell these losses that would typically be used to offset tax liability. But if you're unprofitable and not forecast for a long time, they just sit and accrue. Well, through this program, we create a mechanism to transfer the losses to a profitable company and get some working capital back in from the losses that you've accrued. And then an example around ecosystem building activities that we have out there is like our NJ Founders and Funders program, which is basically an investor introduction event for entrepreneurs here in the state. We're looking to resume this. We've been on hold for a year or so because of COVID, but hopefully in 2022 we can resume having the in-person activities like this. And some other programs, we have NJ Ignite, which partners with incubators and co-working facilities and other types of collaborative workspaces here in the state to help get new companies some physical space. And the benefit is at least half of the first term would be free to you as the entrepreneur. Another program example is NJ Accelerate, which just got kicked off in earnest this year, where we're partnering with accelerators, not just in New Jersey, but around the country, to give access to New Jersey entrepreneurs to top-notch accelerator programs. And then on the flip of that, when companies graduate from these programs, we can look to provide them benefits to move back here and locate their new startup here in New Jersey. So that's it in a nutshell of my team's activity. And yeah, we'll look forward to discussing more. I think we're throwing it back to Andrew now.
Great. So we're going to bring the whole panel back. I've got a couple of questions that I've lined up. And as we're answering these questions, I hope the audience will feel free to put their questions into the Q&A section. So I'm going to start off asking a question as if I was a brand new founder in New Jersey. So let's say I'm starting a venture in New Jersey, or I'm expanding my company into New Jersey. I'm moving to New Jersey. What should I do? Where should I go first? Is there a main site where I can find information to help me? Or how can I get myself plugged into the ecosystem? Ron, do you want to start off the answer for this one?
Sure. First of all, there's a great site that is in development right now, still in development. Been around for a little bit, and it was in my slide, and that's business.nj.gov. That is the state business site. We're adding features to that all the time, and one of the features is going to be a navigator, where you're going to be able to put in, answer a series of questions, and it will give you a roadmap on what you need to do. Right now, it's focused on certain business types and basically startups, so not so much relocation, but startups. And it will talk to you about how to register and the nuts and bolts of starting a business. And I'm going to very quickly say that the first step is really writing a business plan. That, especially for a startup, if somebody who's a real startup, not somebody who's relocating, but somebody who's a startup, you got to write a business plan. The most important document you're ever going to write. It is the backbone of the startup process, because it's going to clarify some of the things like, how do I organize? Should I be an LLC? Should I be a corporation? Am I okay as a sole proprietorship? It's going to talk to you about your financing and your marketing. And here's the key. We can provide you with no cost counseling to get that business plan written through an organization called the Small Business Development Center, which my office funds, as well as the Small Business Administration from the federal government. There's 12 centers around the state, and I am happy to make a referral to those centers, to any business that needs to put together that business plan. Now, you could be in a position where no one will ever ask you to see that business plan, but it's still important for you to put pen and paper so that you can articulate what you're actually trying to accomplish. And because if you can have things in your head, you can have a whole plan and a whole vision in your head, but unless you can articulate it and put it onto paper, you're going to be off in many different directions. So that's the key, number one key, is to writing that business plan, and we can help you with that.
That's great. Lanier, do you want to talk a little bit about your Entrepreneurship Pioneers initiative? Does that fit into this?
Yeah, so typically, really, it's the tech startup world that, we created this process where we would identify entrepreneurs of color who had a high growth company sort of idea, and really give them both mentors, student MBA consulting help. One of our rock star professors, a guy named Mukesh Patel, does a series of nights and brings in mentors and sort of guest speakers around how do you really make the case for capital. It's some of it's narrative, some of it's numbers. What are the 12 important slides as it relates to raising capital? And so that early stage entrepreneur, you typically wouldn't think about the university community, but again, work at our center, NJIT is doing good work. I know universities across the state are doing good work. People don't think to use and leverage the state university system enough, and I think there are great resources there.
That's great. So now I've gotten past the idea phase. I'm starting to get my business plan pulled together, but I'm not quite ready for funding. So what can the state help me with so that I will be well positioned to be asking for funds or to be applying for funds? Mahako?
Yeah, I can definitely take that. So I think it's important to note that there are you know, for instance, I-Core hubs, tech accelerators, the small business centers, as was mentioned earlier, that really helps individuals to prepare to go after, funding, large federal dollars. So, we all know that, Princeton University was selected to lead the Northeast I-Core hub with Rutgers and Rowan and NJIT. And, the goal of this hub is going to really expand economic impact, to really support the development of different business ideas, as well as really build skills and opportunities, I think, for researchers, also underrepresented research entrepreneurs and in specific, among specific groups. And for the commission, we work with the New Jersey Small Business Centers and also providing support to the center to allow for one-on-one coaching around applying for like the federal SBIR grants. And that's something that we think it's vital, because grants such as that are very daunting. And we've heard from some of our very small companies that the application, the budgeting, the financial planning around that, the writing is very daunting. And so we are going to be working with the small business centers to really identify coaching and support for programs like that. So as a company, I would really start really investigate some of these accelerators that are available to just and really don't seek them out when you're in dire constraints. Really make sure you take the time to prepare and learn from them as you're going after these larger grant opportunities. And we're happy to send out a directory of these types of services to folks.
Great. I'm going to also put a little plug in for a session tomorrow on accelerators and trying to figure out which accelerator best matches your needs at the time. So I'm going to move on my founding journey, and my funding journey is not going so great, let's say. So I've been pitching to VCs, but I'm not getting a good response. What kinds of things should I be looking for some help with that can help me to better craft my my case for raising capital? Clark, you have some ideas there?
Sure, I can. So, raising money is not easy. That story of meeting an investor and writing an idea on a napkin and getting $1 million is just that. It's a story. It's a long dance raising. You definitely have to do your homework, have things like a business plan and a pitch deck that Landon was referencing. The 12, not everybody likes a 12 deck. It can be a little flexible, but you really need to hit on some core issues and know it, not just what the slide is. You need to know the next level information and really prove to an investor that you understand every aspect of what you're trying. And on top of that, I would do a little research on who you're speaking with, because different groups are going to have different hot topics they're going to want to hear. So like a person like me, which is associated with the state, well, we love seeing big returns, but we also have other goals that we want to achieve, and that's building strong organizations that will be good employers here and build the job base. If you're working with more of, say, a foundation, that's a new funding source that's gotten really popular, especially for high-tech and scientific focus. So like if you're working with a foundation, they're probably going to be a lot more driven by the science and want to know more about that. If you're speaking with an investor that is Northeast or New York City focused, they're probably going to really want to know about your financials and think through, want to make sure that you thought through your projections there. And then just remember, it is a slow dance, right? Like it's, we have our founders and funders events. No one comes and meets 5 to 10 investors and leaves with 3 checks in their hands. That's just not the way it works. What it does is give you the opportunity to connect with someone where there's a strategic fit, and then get to that next level of elevator pitch 30 minutes, 30 seconds to a minute to get someone's attention, then you've actually secured 10 minutes or so to get some buy-in, and then you're looking for that next level is to get a in-person, which is now still virtual, but an in-person with maybe a partner or something like that, or someone like that makes more high-level decisions to really get into the meat and bones of the organization and be politely persistent. Right? So if you've connected with someone and they do show interest, if they're not immediately interested, a lot of times they've got a let's see in 6 months. Well, offer to put them on a newsletter and actually issue a newsletter that gives good background on the company on a regular interval. Follow back up and have some milestones that you can discuss with them. That's what really starts to engage with the investors and actually ask them, where do I need to get to then? If it's a no now, what are you looking for that would get me to a yes? Really explore with them what it would take to get that investment. I think tracking is really important. I'm always surprised by how many people that I meet and I actually really like, and I say, yeah, sure, follow up. Here's a card. Love to be on your newsletter, see what happens in a few months, and I know.
Great. So I'm moving down my journey now. I've had a hugely successful exit, and now I'd like to give back. So let's say I'm somebody in the community that would like to help support founders that maybe need some coaching, need some support. How can I find opportunities to engage? Lanier, you want to maybe take that one?
Yes, let me see if I'm here. Am I on?
Yeah, you're here.
Okay, great. So, we love creating opportunities for entrepreneurs to talk to other entrepreneurs, both in mentorship opportunities, again, serving on advisory boards, being guest speakers into, the cohort programs that we run, to help entrepreneurs. I mean, there's always the discussion around, the challenge of raising capital. Everybody has, battle scars and war wounds, and nothing gets entrepreneurs sort of excited and juiced up about continuing on the journey as, hearing from other entrepreneurs who are on that journey with them as well. All of us who've been entrepreneurs know that it's lonely sometimes. So if you're one of those entrepreneurs that have experienced some success, and again, all of it is relative, whether I've raised some capital, whether I've gotten some contracts, whether I've gotten above the $1 million or $5 million threshold, to spend time sort of sharing, lessons learned, case studies, that is very, very valuable. So, and to the extent that there are entrepreneurs who have some capital, who now want to be angel investors, who actually want to make $5,000, $10,000, $50,000 commitments to other entrepreneurs, their angel investor programs can, all around the state. And, the program that we run for Black and Latinx entrepreneurs, we have about a dozen entrepreneurs and individuals who hear pitches from other entrepreneurs every 6 weeks. And we are opening the door for other folks who want to join us in co-investing with us as well in promising companies. Those are two ways, mentor, speak, and if you have cash, let's hear pitches and invest as well.
I would add on to that. Lanier has a group that is started. We've helped with Golden Seeds, which is a national organization that looks to invest in women entrepreneurs. Jumpstart is in New Jersey, is an angel group. I would add that people that are looking to enter into angel community, almost all of these groups are going to come with an educational component to them to help you learn more and evaluate deals and how to interact with folks in the community.
And I would just mention SCORE. SCORE is a volunteer organization that mentors business owners. So if you want to invest a little bit of time into a business and mentor them, contact your local SCORE chapter and offer to be a volunteer. And I can make those connections for you if someone was interested in doing that.
Terrific. Great. I'm going to start with the audience Q&A. We've had a number of questions coming in. So I am going to ask a question Let's see. What is available from New Jersey to municipalities to help adopt small business programs and to review our procedures and ordinances to be small business friendly?
Very timely question. And I'll tell you why. We have been having discussion over in the last couple of weeks about reinstituting a program that we've had several years ago called Best Practices. And we will put together a team, still in development stage for reigniting it, of organizations that can help a help a municipality or a county become more friendly to their business community. We do have a planning advocacy team that falls under the Business Action Center. We have my office that can help a municipality help funnel information to their small business community to find the resources that they need. Our executive director just joined the board from Downtown New Jersey. Downtown New Jersey, an organization that provides educational services to communities to help them become more business friendly and to talk about how to revitalize their downtown and their commercial districts. So the answer to your question is contact us. Let's have a conversation about what we can do. We have some resources through the Department of Community Affairs, Downtown New Jersey, our own planning advocacy unit to help business communities accomplish just that, becoming more business friendly and recognizing that, and I'm going to steal a line that our executive director used the other day and got a round of applause, so I'm going to steal it. And that is, we want communities to start thinking about their business community as members of their family. So when a business in your community fails, that's you losing a member of your family. And you should be concerned about that and do everything you can to make sure that doesn't happen. So that's going to be the message that we're going to be using in these upcoming events. And I'd be glad to have a conversation about you with that. So reach out to me and we'll see what we can do for you.
Great. I'm going to put in a little plug here, which connects to a question that also came in about how people in the audience can write down, instead of taking screenshots, how they can get informed about all the programs that everybody's been speaking about. In the below the screen, you'll see a page that has all of your contact information. So for audience members, they can go there and find people's email addresses. We've also been putting into the chat, we've been putting a number of links. Does anybody else have any other places that they would recommend people look for some consolidated lists of support programs in the state on the panel?
Well, for the SBIR programs, I would definitely put in the chat the SBIR.gov website to look up the federal agencies that offer SBIR programs and be able to see some of the solicitations. So I could go ahead and throw that in a chat.
Excellent.
If that's okay.
All right. I am going to take the next question for Mahako from Commission of Science, Innovation, and Technology. Regarding your Catalyst program, we're considering applying for this. This is coming from an audience member. We're a lifestyle technology company. Which category should we apply for? Life sciences, other, or technology? Or does it matter? So how do people categorize themselves?
Yeah, it does matter to us, and not knowing specifically what the more detailed project that you're going to be describing and applying for this particular grant, it's difficult to tell. But if you are creating, software, or if you are specifically in a certain section of life science, you may be checking off one or the other. You don't have to worry necessarily, as long as the project explains very clearly what you are trying to do. But if you have any questions, you can feel free to email us and we could jump on a call and you could just give us a sense of what your project will be, and we could always kind of guide you in that direction. But again, as long as you fall within one of these areas, you're eligible to apply for the Catalyst grant program.
Terrific. I've got a question coming in from Brett Marshall. A shout out first to the Princeton class of 98. So Brett is coming in from San Diego, and he has a nonprofit. He's wondering whether there are limitations regarding geographic location and the New Jersey research resources that you've been talking about. So are there some of your programs that are only for New Jersey resources? Are there any that are for companies that are not based in New Jersey?
Well, I'll start. For us, it's you have to be a New Jersey registered company. And within our application process, we do ask for several various documentations. A tax clearance will ask for an employee log document where you log who all of your employees are, full-time, part-time. So we do have a very hard requirement that for some of the grants, at least 50% of your employees are based in New Jersey. And for other grants that are larger, at least 75% of your employees are based in New Jersey. So it depends, but you do have to be a New Jersey-based company, yes.
Yeah, I would agree with that as well. The majority are designed to support New Jersey businesses, and that's almost always defined based on where your employees are located here in the state, but not all. There are other programs, like our Accelerate program, where we are partnering with organizations that are outside of the state, but we're planning on their graduates to be located here, or some of them be located here in the state. We have made investments in venture capital firms that are not necessarily located in New Jersey, but they have to be able to show their tie and the pipeline here. They have an employee or partner already located. So most of the time, yes, but not always. It's by program.
Yeah, I think our answer is somewhat similar. We're, state university, so it's really focused on how to create opportunities for entrepreneurs in the state. We have gotten some grants, especially over the last 18 months, specific to Black entrepreneurship, and that's been national grants that, really has said, can you identify entrepreneurs of color who have had access to capital issues, systemic inequality issues, and can you help them make the case for capital? We've also used our MBA student consulting teams to work with companies outside of the state as well. That if the students get to choose what they think are interesting, they work for 6 to 8 weeks, with the founder or with the founding team on some specific problem or challenge. So we do have some opportunities and some program dollars that are not, especially our regional and but our national as well.
And my only comment would be, and similar to what Clark was just saying, our mission and the mission of a lot of the state agencies are to increase employment in the state of New Jersey, and in the case of of what we call a foreign entity or an out of state entity, is to get them to make direct investments in New Jersey, to invest here. So ultimately, that's our mission. So if you're an out of state company and you want to start conducting business here, and you want to start employing New Jersey people and investing in New Jersey, then by all means, let's have a conversation. But that is our ultimate metric that we get judged on, is how many jobs are created and how much investment comes into the state, because we're a state agency. So.
Right. Okay. So we've got just a minute left. Let's say I'm out there and I want to stay in the know. I want to make sure that I don't miss deadlines. I want to know what's going on in the state. What should I subscribe to? What newsletters? What sites should I just really be on top of?
I'm going to jump right in and say business.nj.gov. There's a button on the top navigation bar of that page that says updates. Sign up for the newsletter. It goes out every week, has the latest information about any regulatory changes, any programs that are becoming available. So that's probably the most important thing you can do coming off of this seminar, is just register for the newsletter.
I would double down on that and say, sure back, and most I know my organization has now very active social media feeds that you can automatically link to via our websites, and we push out lots of content around not just what we're doing, but other organizations are doing in the ecosystem. I recently just had an event where we only pushed it out via social media, and I had great attendance. So that would be mine, whether it's LinkedIn or Twitter or whatever you use, connect with those social media feeds.
I'm going to add a little plug for us, entrepreneurs.princeton.edu. We have a newsletter. We also do a lot of pushing out of our own events, but we really try to make sure that that we're pushing out community events that are welcoming to everybody. So I think that is our time. I want to thank the panelists so much for spending some of your day-to-day with us, and thank the audience for joining us for this conference and for this session, and have a great afternoon.